Hi, I'm Louise Thompson, the Executive Director of Tampa Bay Community Network, and you're watching our channels, Tampa Bay Community Network.
Hi, I'm Bill Hodges, and this is Spotlight on Government. Today, I'm going to do an interview with a lady I've been wanting to get on the air for the longest time, Louise Thompson, Executive Director of the Tampa Bay Community Network. Louise, I am so excited you're on the show with me today.
I so appreciate you wanting to have me on, Bill, and of course we appreciate so much about what you do here for us.
I will tell you this before we begin. I truly and honestly believe, after being here for 13, 14 years and watching what's happened over that period of time, that the lights would not be on here in this station if it were not for you.
Thank you. I do try. My staff tries very hard too.
Well, you have built a beautiful staff too.
This is a great team of people, all of them very creative, all of them very talented, and the most important thing is they get along very well and they fill in for each other. They just pick up the slack when somebody's out or has a problem with something. They're always there helping each other. So it's a very cool atmosphere to be in.
Well, I feel really like I'm in an area of friends. These
and
people,
you should.
Yeah. It's really kind of, I don't know, it's like a family. It really is. You being the matriarch.
Yeah, I'm the mom. Yeah, I'm the mom.
I'm older than you are, but you can be the matriarch.
I don't think you are, but okay. We won't argue that on camera, okay? We'll do that later.
Let's talk about what TCBN is all about, Tampa Bay Community Network.
Right.
You began, when I first began with the station back in the 80s, a long time ago, 2000. You were the chairman of the board.
I was, for a period of time, I was president of the board. Well, I'm going to go back just a little bit, just to give a little bit of better history. In the late 90s, I was in a group of citizens that was trying to do community journalism or civic journalism, and we were asked by the city of Tampa to take over from the cable company, which at the time was Time Warner. We were asked to take over the management of the public access channel. And for people who don't know, when cable companies came into town to provide cable, most cities and towns were smart enough to say, we'll let you do that, we'll let you dig up our streets, and we'll let you dig up the first 3 feet of people's lawns, or how many feet it is, 9 maybe? But you'll have to give us 3 channels. One for the government, so it could put on its meetings, one for the education community, so that people can learn things, and one for the public, so that it could talk back to City Hall if it wanted to, or do anything it wanted to do under the First Amendment. So for years, for 25 years or so, I'd say 20 years, probably, the cable companies, whoever was running it in Hillsborough County or the city of Tampa, would manage and keep open a facility for people to come in and do programming that they wanted to do. They didn't like doing that. It was a requirement of their contract. So in the late 1990s, when they went to renew their franchise agreement, Time Warner asked to get out of that part of the provisions of their contract. And so the city of Tampa came to our group, little group, mostly print people, and asked us to take it over. And we said no 3 times before they convinced us that we had the one criteria that you needed to have to run a public access center, and that was a real commitment to the First Amendment. And so even though we weren't broadcast people, we had that. And so we ended up taking over the city and the county's public access channels, 2 feeds that leave our station and go out to 5 different cable channels now. We ended up starting that in April of 2000. So we've been doing it now for 14 years.
I've just realized,
better than 14
when I
years.
said 80s, that's when I started
You started
doing shows with Congressman Dave Hobson up in Dayton, Ohio, he asked me to do a spotlight on government up there, where whenever he came back from Washington, we sat down and talked about what Congress was doing. So my mind had
That's
reverted
right,
all the way
but
back.
that's exactly right. It was the early 80s. I think Canada may have started in the late 70s even.
We're in 1984
Yeah.
was when I shot
I
my
think
first
we
show.
started here in Tampa. 84 is the earliest date I have. 84, the city of Tampa came on. We were located on the campus of the University of Tampa, where we provided sort of the lab class for the UT students. And we did that until 2011, when we came up to the University of South Florida area, University Mall.
Let's talk about what the station does today.
Okay.
We've been there for a long time, and we've stayed relevant in a lot of ways. And actually, I think it's important to know that this is the only public access station in the whole state of Florida that's still on the air. And I believe that, again,
correct.
speaks to you and your ability to keep it funded.
Thank you. I think it's a lot of people that want us to keep on keeping on, and so we're trying to do that. In the face of many of them have gone under. In the state of Florida, they've been closed up. In the state of California, I think lost like 100 or 200 in a very short amount of time. And people use a poor reason for letting go of their access channels. You know, they say things like, well, we got the internet now. Well, sure, a lot of us have the internet now, but not every person in your town has the internet at home in the evening. They may have it at work, or they don't have it at all. So you're leaving out a whole segment of the world when you leave out the access channels. But we're more than that anymore, because we've been for the last 10 years on the internet, streaming, having video on demand on our own YouTube channel, and making sure that we're out there with other, you know, digital components, and trying to, we're now not called a public access center, but a community media center, because we now have podcasting as well. We have our own podcast suite for people who want to do record and
Let's talk a little bit about podcasts. Before we leave that,
okay.
Explain what podcast is. Because a whole lot of people really don't know what that is.
It's internet radio, really. All it is someone from their home or from an acoustically sound place like we happen to have, because of a small grant we got from the Children's Board of Hillsborough County. We were able to put in, and a pretty cool technician who put together a lot of parts from a lot of different places, and new software and that kind of thing. And he did the acoustic cushioning in the room and all of that. Now you can go in and record something in a good sound quality environment, and then take that and put it on the internet to teach people things, to share your views about, same thing you do on our stations and traditionally have always done on public access. Share your views on public affairs, you know, teach or entertain, sing a song, do whatever you like. You can do that now on internet radio, and so they call it podcasting. But a lot of young people, well, not just young people, but I think a majority of people probably using it are younger, will, while they're doing another task, I mean, whether they're waxing their car or doing something else, they're plugged in.
Oh, yeah, always.
And they're learning something. You know, they're either being entertained or listening to music, or they actually could be learning some other expert facet of their own occupation or vocation.
Really interesting today. Phyllis and I walking into the station, she commented to me when we got partway in, she said, have you noticed that 4 people we have passed now have a phone in their hand and something in their ear, listening or talking or doing something with that phone?
Yep.
So everybody is
the way
really
it is.
wrapped up in that.
Yeah, and so I think, you know, people have a lot of information to share today, and it's wonderful, I think, that we have all these technical devices that allow us to communicate everywhere.
If someone wanted to do a podcast, what is the criteria to use the station's facilities?
We
Or
ask everybody
television.
to become a member
Okay.
of our group, which is how we hustle $100.
Okay.
But it's a good, wonderful place to support.
Is that $100 a year,
A year,
or $100?
One
Okay.
year, for a year's membership. for which you then are able to take basic video production classes and to use and to rent studios and to do most of the things that we have available here, and podcasting as well.
Okay, do
So-
they have to pay extra to use the podcast?
Yes, everything is extra now.
Okay.
This was all free. It really today should still be free, but our local government does not support it like it did in the past, so we had to go to a different model in which we now sell our services, sell our staff as crew members, do video production services. We hope that everyone who's watching this will come to us for any video production needs they have.
Well, you've done a
whether-
variety of video productions for various government agencies.
We
haven't you?
have.
Let's talk
And
a
we
little bit
now-
about some of those.
Yeah, so right now we're doing one for economic development in Hillsborough County, which is a series called Innovation Fixation, which is highlighting something like 40 different individuals, tech individuals in town, who are doing new technology things. You know, somebody's come in with a 6-legged robotic that could get into strange places,
Oh, cool.
small places, and somebody else is doing streaming from around the world. Women are on sailboats and they're going to the Fiji Islands and going to a classroom there, and it's getting streamed to a classroom here in the United States, and the kids are talking to each other and they're talking about the voyage. And so a lot about communications and you know, technical innovations and inventions and
Now,
entrepreneurs.
this is a contract you've taken.
This is a contract
under-
we took with Hillsborough County to highlight the tech individuals in our community. We're also doing another one with Hillsborough County where we have produced a large series of videos that will enlighten people in town about how the healthcare plan works, how to get on it, what eligibility requirements there are, how to access the Sunshine Line, which takes people who can't drive to their doctor's appointments and to senior centers. We've done them on Head Start, on Early Head Start,
You did some on
veteran
finding
services.
jobs, too.
Oh, we did.
Whole series on that, didn't you?
This is an amazing thing. We were contracted with Tampa Workforce Alliance, now known as Career Resource, to do a series called Job Hunting 101, which helps people find a job. And we have had, I don't know, it's like 180,000 views on just how to go through an interview or what to wear on an interview, which is interesting. And it's for people who all over the world have accessed this. So
I know that for a
Isn't
fact.
that amazing?
Because I had a friend from Australia who follows our program, and I mentioned it to him, and he said, well, I'm looking for a job. Maybe I better go look and see what it has to say. And he found some great suggestions there.
Yep, we've had some wonderful feedback on their comments
So if a
that
company,
said it was helpful.
let's say that XYZ company wanted to do a program on their benefit program for their employees, or on how to drive a lift truck or whatever,
Yeah.
would they come to you also?
Yes, we wouldn't probably put whatever they wanted on our channels because it may not be applicable to our channels. But I think training tapes, like you just mentioned, are really important for companies to have because you never say the same thing twice. If you're going to do a video, you're going to script it, and everybody will get the same information.
I really believe in
You
that.
believe this, right? So you'll leave out something somewhere, or you'll include something you forgot to tell these other guys somewhere else. And so I think having a training tape, even if you have a physical presenter in the room who says hello and I'm here to answer any questions, to create those kind of training tapes is a really great idea. So also, you know, today, you literally, I don't think you can have a business today without a web video of some kind. So if you have a business, you definitely have to have a website. If you have a website, you definitely have to explain your product, service, whatever. And you have to seem
I didn't
personable.
realize we did that.
Yeah, well, so we do website videos too. We've done political videos for, you know, someone running for office where they put the video on there and explained why they were running so that, you know, when you went to their website, you could actually see them personally.
See, I've been here for this long, and I didn't know that.
Yeah. So also when you're trying to brand or rebrand something, you probably need a series of videos, even though with our programming, we usually have 29-minute shows. But if you cut those down into 5 or 10-minute segments, because people don't like to watch that long of a video, it's hard to get them to stay with you the whole time. We'll have to count how many people are watching at the end of the show, start it out. But anyway, so you need something that has their interest. And corporate videos of all sorts are important. I always say to orientation classes, here's something you got to realize. We live in a video world, right? And you can't be born today or die today without a video. I mean, I've gone to funeral services and birth christenings and weddings and showers, and there's always a video, whether it's a series of photographs from the people who are getting married, their babyhood or childhood, but you're always going to see that. And as a journalism, mass comm journalism major, it's funny because I used to like to read a lot of stuff, and now I read a lot of stuff, but I also want to see the video. I want to see how that really happened, you know, whether it's a news item about a tsunami or whatever it is. We all are like interested, let's see how that happened. And I think that's why the attention's on so much of, you know, the news being in video format.
Well, since 1948, we've become a video generation. Prior to that, those of us who are old enough remember people sitting around and staring at a radio. And the Lone Ranger would go clippity, 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 clop, and they'd make all kind of noises, and you visualize all that in your mind. That doesn't happen today.
And you know, that's always better, visualization. That's usually much better. So here we are, we're a training.
But the people today won't do that. They want the video. They want to see the pictures.
Yes, we do want to see it. We want to see the proof of the pudding, because we hear so many things that aren't true. So if we could just see it, and then sometimes you're tricked because somebody can edit something, fool around with it, as we have a news item right now going on where things got edited and something might be defunded that didn't need to be defunded. But in any event, in addition to the fact that we will create those videos, produce them, help somebody write them, figure out their slant. I've been in marketing for 40 years. I'm sure I can help them. But in addition to that, we're training.
Public relations was your forte before coming into this.
Yeah.
And I really shouldn't say before coming into this, because you've done a lot of that since you've been here.
But here we are training people to do all these things so that they immediately get hands-on training on a camera. They get editing training.
If somebody comes in and they pay their $100 and they want to learn to do some editing.
Right, they can take an editing class for $60.
$60.
They could take every single class we have and become certified in location, multi-camera production, single camera production, camera basics, those kinds of. Every single class wouldn't cost them, I think it's $800 if they took them all.
Oh.
So, and they would be, within 2 or 3 months, if they want to put their mind to it, they could be out there selling themselves as video producers, because many people have gotten jobs in local.
A lot of them through here.
Through here, that's right. I always say to orientation classes, there isn't a radio station, TV station, cable company, or a large communications department of a nonprofit or a for-profit in this town where you won't find at least one person who didn't come through our training. Everybody's taken our training, and so you're going to find them everywhere, and you're going to find them in California and other places. But many of people who have taken our training opened their own video production services. One of our members of a couple of years ago, he not only got the training, got his training for his girlfriend, his daughter, her fiance, other people, and he was in a different business, gave it up because he just loved the video production thing. And now he is like the #1 wedding guy in Tampa. I mean, if you're going to have a wedding, you're going to call him for video production services. And he's hired other people that we train. So that's kind of cool. And then if you look on our Facebook page, I've listed a number of people who you would very well know who got their start at their public access station. J.J. Abrams, the director of Star Wars, and Owen Wilson, the actor. There's a lot of them and not just actors, but also authors and famous cooks and all kinds of people got their start. And a lot of politicians have gotten their start by going on public access television, learning how it works behind the scenes and how it works to be in front of it. So our video production training is very hands-on and doesn't have you going through what you would go through in a college environment.
It's not a pass-fail environment.
No, it's not pass-fail.
It's a succeed environment.
That's right. And in addition to that, we're not teaching you the beginning stages of communications, hieroglyphics, the printing press, blah, blah, blah. We don't forget that. Here's the camera. This is how you pan, tilt, and this is what you do. This is how you light up. This is what you do. And so our trainers are smart, and they can get you to the place that you need to go, regardless of your previous experience or education level or economic status or anything. That's what we're very proud of, our studio training managers behind the camera over there.
And she does a great job, too.
And she does a great job, and people respond to her very well, and she's able to cover a range of different people.
She just gave me some great ideas to find stuff today.
Yeah, a PhD she can train, or she can train somebody who just had a fourth grade education.
I'm careful not to mention staff name because I'd have to go through them all. Everyone has made an impact, but I do want to talk Pam and John, because I come in, they're rock solid, and Pam is just an absolutely outstanding lady.
Our outreach coordinator is what she is.
Is that what that was?
But Pam also worked for me in my agency when she was just out of college. So, yeah, so
she's outstanding.
She's very, very good. Yeah.
She is calm, cool, collected. Okay, we'll just do this.
Yeah, if you ever saw her blow up, you better run. You'd be like, oh my God, what happened?
And John, I'll say, well, John, I didn't wear the right. Well, we'll fix it. Don't worry.
Yeah.
So everybody is just great.
And we're grateful for our volunteer hosts, and you've been, I guess, our longest standing volunteer host. But we have now 4 or 5 that are steady in the series that they're in. You're covering with Spotlight, heads of nonprofits, but generally you're covering legislative people, cabinet level, county commissioners, city council, and so forth. And we're getting a taste of what they're doing and what they're thinking, and who are they?
With very few exceptions, I think I've had all of the Hillsborough delegation on it, the mayor of St. Petersburg. We've had several drive over from the West Coast to come on the show.
We're just waiting for the city of Tampa mayor. That's all.
Mr. Buckhorn, would you
Where are
please
you?
come on?
Where are you? Yeah.
But we've had all the city council, and they're
absolutely
great. What wonderful people. They are just
absolutely
bubbly, and I really enjoy every one of them when they come on.
Yep, they're doing great. So we have your series, and we have a volunteer who does a show in Spanish called Mi Gente Tampa Bay, in which she highlights and features nonprofits and government agencies and the help that they can provide to the Spanish community, but in Spanish, so that they can understand that better. And then we have a series called Culture Vultures, which in part has received funding from the state of Florida Department of Cultural Affairs, and where we have a volunteer host who's previous city council woman, who is now hosting that. And in that series, we are highlighting local artists and art venues, whether they're dancers, visual artists, musicians. We had a guy on a few months ago that did a whole band from his iPad. I mean, just, and so we've been able to highlight that. And it's kind of like with our own mission is to make sure that people know who their representatives are, know where the arts and the artists are in town, especially a shut-in who maybe can't get to the Gasparilla Art Festival or some other thing, can see it, and if they can't make the government meetings, then at least they can meet them and you can ask them questions. They'll know where they're coming from.
If somebody's watching this show, and there are many, and a lot of them have pretty deep pockets.
Send it here.
If they want to guarantee free speech, the ability of people not to have to be wealthy to come on the air, is there a way that they can contribute to the station?
They can certainly, if they're into computers, they can go to our website, tbcn.org. I think on every single page, you'll see a donate button. Just click on that if you want.
And everything counts.
Yes, and everything counts. They don't want to go on the internet, they want to write a check. They can certainly do that to Tampa Bay Community Network, Post Office Box 4177, Tampa 33677-4177.
Like the city of Tampa is very good to us. They give us funds every year.
Yes, but they're very, very low now. They
maybe
supported
if they called
us.
their people or called the mayor and said, hey, this would be a good thing to put a little more dollars into.
Absolutely. If you could do that, that would be grand.
County commissioners?
County commissioners too, because we are serving county residents and city residents, and it would be nice if we went back to the days where we were close to being funded to the same degree as the government channels. So they fund the government channels. They've funded them in the past for as much as $3 million a year when they were giving us $300,000 or 10% of that. So that's crazy. The public should be awarded the same kind of thing that you're giving to the government. So now the city of Tampa is only paying us $207,000, and we can't really operate on that. And that's why we've taken on so many.
Help.
We need help. We need income generators. We have gone to a lot of grant writing. We're involved in a grant now with the CDC of Tampa and United Way, in which we're training people who are underemployed or not employed in video production. We'll be doing that with housing authority people. So we're trying all different ways of bringing in income to keep on keeping on, and we could use sponsorships of our program. If, for example, a law firm wanted to sponsor a program on legal issues.
My program would be a great one to sponsor.
They could sponsor yours. They can sponsor the arts programming. That isn't all being sponsored by Department of Cultural Affairs, which is just a small grant. So they can do that. They can hire us to do video production services, to run the podcast equipment for them. We just had somebody sign up who is a HuffPost blogger.
We've run out of time.
Oh, good.
I have to tell you, there's a line from Rudyard Kipling's poem, If, and it says, if you can work with worn out tools and yet get the job done, this would be the place that epitomizes that. They don't waste a nickel. It's all going to make sure that the public have a voice. And Louise Thompson, Executive Director at Tampa Bay Community Network, you've just been one of my heroes over a period of years, and I thank you so much for what you've done. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Bill Hodges. This is Spotlight on Government. You're unique, you're special, and you're great. Tell you so often because you are, and we'll see you on the next Spotlight on Government. And thanks again for agreeing to come in studio with me.
Thank you so much.